Hi and welcome back. If you've ever had an argument with a scale modelling friend about which genre is the best, and in the end you both agreed that sci-fi is the worst, this is going to bite me, hit the like and subscribe buttons for me. This week we're going to take a look at shelf queens. Those kits that for some reason are stalled and get put on a shelf somewhere and forgotten about. Well, we're going to find ways to get our mojo back, get them onto the workbench and get them completed, and allow them to take pride of place in our collections. Let's get started. Sci-fi modelers, don't be too alarmed. So I am actually a sci-fi modeler as well, and in Star Wars costuming, so don't worry, I've got nothing against you all. Don't flame me too hard in the comments. Alright, shelf queens. So I'm going to use an example straight out of my own collection. I have a project which I've just completed, and it was a shelf queen for 2 to 2.5 years. So just after the lockdown phase of the COVID pandemic was complete and we were allowed to get back out and associate with each other as human beings ought to, I found myself in one of my local hobby shops looking for a kit. As a lot of us have, we've been locked up and spent time, and scale modelling has boomed, and for me I'd emptied my stash pretty much of the things I was passionate about, and I looked for something new. I found a 1/16 Takom Panzer I. Now, it's not the biggest, brightest, most attractive vehicle, tank in Germany's arsenal during the war, and it's certainly not a passion vehicle for many now, but it ticked a box for me. It took me a long way back into my early life when I was in the army, and I had to read a book as part of my studies at Royal Military College, a book that a lot of us are familiar with in armour, called Achtung Panzer by Heinz Guderian. Interestingly, on the front of this book, which is mine from quite some years ago, is a Panzer I Aus from A. And that was a kit which I stumbled across at my local hobby shop. Needless to say, suddenly there was a connection, and I decided, bought it on the spot, brought it home and got busy working on it. So I jumped into doing my usual research as the first step in preparation. I found a series of period photos from late 1940 to the early months of the Barbarossa campaign, then set about planning my build in detail. Excitement was high. This was the first 1/16 scale kit I've ever built. I spent a lot of time detailing this model, including replacing tool handles with real wooden handles that I sculpted myself, chipping paint surfaces to reflect accurate in-combat wear, applying dust and light effects to closely resemble the research I had done, and I purchased aftermarket metal tracks to get the perfect look and sag for my vision, and I was really happy with progress at this point. And here is the point I reached where I stopped the build. So the obvious question here is, Stuart, why did you stop? You're on a roll, you were nearly there. Well, yeah, I was, but unfortunately a few things got in the way. The effects still of the COVID pandemic as far as my workload in my real life was concerned, it was still there. We were busy and my projects at work became bigger and more intense, and I had to just put some of my hobby time aside. As simple as that. Unfortunately, 2.5 years later, my shelf queen was still a shelf queen. Now the good thing is, it actually became the subject of a predetermined idea I had to do for this YouTube channel. So I went through that process over the last couple of months and have completed it. And we'll get to that soon. We'll show you photos of exactly how that's turned out. Out of this entire process, I've got 5 steps that I think can help you in doing exactly the same thing, getting those shelf queens off the shelf and getting them complete. So let's have a look at those. First of all, assess what still needs to be done. I think you've just got to have an honest conversation with yourself, and first of all determine, are you really committed to getting this done? So yes, what steps still need to be done? Write them down. Be very specific about what that is. The second step, set a simple and specific goal. Now you know what needs to be done, let's write a goal of what it is that you need to achieve and where you want this project to end up so you can then remain on track as you work through it. And that leads us to point number 3. Break up what needs to be done into a group of much smaller tasks. There's no point just saying, complete this tank, because at the end of the day, it's not specific enough and it still looks like a big project. So let's break it up into a series of smaller projects that'll be much more manageable and easy for you to achieve. 4, schedule the time to do each task. So we've already been through a process where we didn't allow ourselves time to do it or we lost interest in it. But now what we need to do is take some of that hobby time that we have devoted for ourselves and schedule each task that needs to be done. And 5, probably the most important, celebrate your success. As you achieve each of those smaller tasks, make noise about it. Post pictures on social media, tell your family and friends, tell the members at the hobby club that you're a member of, get some positive feedback, and it becomes a rolling juggernaut. You'll just keep going and going and going until you've got this project finally complete. And when you get to that end goal line, when you finally finish that shelf queen and got it complete, again, celebrate that success. It's a big achievement for you and you should take pride in your effort. Where does that lead us now? Well, let's have a look at what's happened to my little shelf queen. Where is that Panzer one now and how does she look? My aim with this kit was to place it squarely in the opening months of the Barbarossa campaign, Germany's invasion of Soviet Russia in the summer of 1941. The Panzer I, whilst not a frontline tank, it was used extensively in reconnaissance roles to assist the Wehrmacht war machine cover the vast territory it conquered so quickly. I wanted this vehicle to be a surviving veteran of both Poland and France, to show a lot of wear through its consistent service and thereby be a dusty example of a vehicle that was rolling across the vast plains in the heat and dry of summer. So please, let me know if you think I've achieved this by adding a comment in the comments section. Hopefully I've inspired you to pull down a shelf queen, formulate a plan of action and try to resurrect a forgotten partially completed project. This kit will make an appearance at a model expo in Australia this year, so if you see it, please say hi, as I love to catch up with other modelling enthusiasts who are as passionate about the subjects. Until next Tank Tuesday, stay safe, keep modelling and help to support your local hobby store.